the kind you wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the world can never leave us? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I am your host, Webby. I missed you guys. All right, I just want to say that. But joining me tonight, we have Mr. Rob Edquist.
Hey guys, I guess, since I've been the co-host the most, I'm now the co-host. Eat it, Devin! Eat it!
He's never going to listen to this, are you joking?
Yeah, I know.
So, it's true, you've been on quite a few of them, at least recently.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to bring you in on this one. Mainly because it's super late at night and no one else is going to be awake.
I don't know what you could be talking about. I am not up to like 4 a.m. playing Town of Salem.
You have a problem. As the listeners know now, we have shed the light on it. We have peeled back the curtain. Listeners, we need to get Mr. Edquist here an intervention. Okay? We need to... I've tried, but...
Look, he's lucky I'm not playing Town of Salem right now.
I mean, he could be, and I just don't know. I'm getting an echo off of you.
Oh, I must be too close to the mic. I'll back up a little bit.
Just a scotch. I just recently said a reference. What was it? Fuck, I don't remember now. I think we were recording a one of the mainland games that I just recently started DMing for. For actually, my buddy Ross is in that game. He's the person who does our intro and outro music, along with a lot of various other music. He did a song for our charity stream in December. But yeah, they had done something, and I just laughed and I was like, "Oh man, they ousted you just like on Town of Salem." Oh, it was fucking Devin is in this game, right? Edquist, and he's playing a bard, and the big one of the spiders they came across some spiders, like some giant spiders and a phase spider, right?
Okay.
And this thing had like 1 hit point left, and he was gonna take a crossbow bolt shot, but instead he did vicious mockery, and the way he phrased it was he like leaned around the boulder, he just pointed at the spider who was mid-webbing of Ross's character, and he's just like, "No, bad spider." And then so I told him, I was like, and then he rolled damage, and I was like, "Well, I killed it." So I was like, "That spider died of guilt, much like the vigilante in Town of Salem." So your Town of Salem is slowly creeping into my D&D, and I don't like it.
Nice.
Okay, but we're not here to talk about Town of Salem again.
No.
Sorry, Edquist.
I don't know. So far, all we've talked about is Town of Salem.
That witch, though. That witch, she just controls people.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, all of my wins in Town of Salem I dedicate to Cheeky. Even though she lies to us.
I know. Oh my god, that was terrible. Cheeky, you gotta stick with the program. No lie.
Anyway, this week I brought you in. I wanted to talk about fucking Wierd Islands. Okay, I know that's a very odd topic. Okay, I did some digging. I don't remember who it was it might have been you a while ago, who just kind of sent me a link just to a YouTube video. It was just some weird island shit, and I got in on this because of one particular island. I was like, oh, this is cool. I really like this island. What other kind of weird islands are out there? My God, people. Okay. So I pulled up this list. I'm sure there are more. So if you find some that we don't either get to, depending on how long this goes and how many of these we get through, if you find some that are on this that aren't on this list, by all means, share them with us. I want to hear about them. I'm curious. But some of these islands are fucking weird. Some of them, it's like the description is only like a sentence or two long, and there's really not much to it. Like it's like so. Some of these islands we're gonna blow through. Some of them I pulled up wikis on some of these islands to share just a few facts. But yeah, the list that we have is a 25 weird islands that will leave you scratching your head. Or depending on which island you visit, you might be scratching other things.
Might be dead.
It's true. So we're gonna start with this fucked up island first. This is number 25. It's La. I'm gonna butcher all these names, people. Okay?
Do you want me to say it?
If some of these are probably in Spanish, some of these are in Japanese. I'll give the best I can. Edquist, do you know Spanish?
I took 3 years of Spanish. I can speak like a few words. I mean, I could try this one. It's La Isla de la Municas, I think. Municas.
Sure. I mean,
La
that's
Isla de la Municas.
reading it. It looks like you sounded right. You know, I mean I would butcher that word. Okay, I would butcher all these words. I would probably butcher la. I'm just saying. Okay. In any case, this island is known as the Island of the Dolls. Already, I'm kind of creeped out. You know, it's localized, or it's located near a canal, or in a canal, near Mexico City. And apparently, this dude, Don Julian, I'm not even gonna try to put a Hispanic twist on it. Went batshit. Okay, he left his family. He ran to this island. Now, under this description, it just says he ran to the island, hung up a bunch of dolls to ward off evil spirits, and then he drowned not too long after that. Now, I pulled up a little bit of different story.
There are also horrible pictures to go with these listeners. Yes. So if you want to this shows a bunch of dolls looking like they played Town of Salem too much, and they're all like,
yes. Now, dude, Edquist, you know what? I'm gonna share this with you real quick. Wait until you see what not Don Carlos, whatever his name is, Don Julios. Man, go to that one. You'll get pictures of Don Julian. So his name is Don Julian Santana Barrera, okay? Now, this guy apparently went batshit. He went to this island, and he stumbled across the body of a drowned little girl who drowned in a mysterious circumstance, is what his wording is.
Oh, jeez. These pictures are much worse.
Yeah. Dude, the dolls look more lively than this guy.
The one of him in the pink shirt? My God.
Oh, yeah.
I would not want to meet him in an alleyway.
Dude, that's his Easter, that's his Sunday's finest right there.
Oh, jeez.
So shortly after he stumbled across this drowned girl, he saw a floating doll in the canals, which he assumed was the girl's. So he hung it up in a tree as a way of showing respect and support of the girl. Okay? Now... After that, he claims that the girl's spirit haunted the doll and was torturing him, like mentally. It was like watching him everywhere he went. It spoke to him. So as time progressed, he hung up more and more dolls to try to appease this spirit. Now,
apparently he tried to find the most nightmarish dolls he could in the world.
Yeah, so this guy went a little overboard. Okay. But let's see. Since his death, so Julian died. Go figure. Crazy guy on an island playing with dolls. The island itself has become very famous and has even been featured on many articles and even TV shows. Although the action of Don Julian was innocent and even admirable, it ended up being portrayed as a real nightmarish destination, which, my God, the pictures of this island. Okay.
I like this. I like these lines. The area has thousands of people, but this small island is home to hundreds of terrifying dolls. Their severed limbs, decapitated heads, and blank eyes adorn the tree. The dolls are threatening even in the bright light of midday, but in the dark, they're particularly disturbing.
Dude, there's this one picture of like this doll, a couple dolls up in the tree or whatever, and then there's just a doll head that's shoved on a branch. It's okay, so that's number 25. We're gonna move on because dolls. What one was this next? Number 24, we have Sable Island. This is off the coast of Nova Scotia. It's an island region known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. It's most commonly known for two things, horses and shipwrecks. So a little fact about Sable Island. Let's see. It is not inhabitable. Like, you can't go there and like build a house. It is protected by the National Park Reserve. I believe Canada is in charge of protecting all of Sable Island.
Yeah, I would assume if it's in Nova Scotia.
Where did I read about? Hold on. I had the population of horses here. Oh, it's home to over 550 free-roaming horses that are protected by law from human interference.
Yes. So apparently the island used to not have horses, but they were shipwrecked several times with horses.
Right.
And now they have horses. Kind of like how we have the monk parrot here in New England. It's like, why does New England have parrots? Because of plane crashes. That is why.
Early on, people also tried to grow trees on Sable Island because Sable Island has no trees at all. The soil did not go well with the trees. All the trees died or didn't grow except for one. Sable Island now does have one tree. It's a Scots pine. It's only a few feet tall. It's like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. Okay. Other than that, yeah, it's you could see forever on this island. This is a cool picture. I like these pictures. There's a very shaggy horse on the Wikipedia. I'm just saying. So yeah, that's pretty much all about that. It was mainly an island that just a lot of people shipwrecked on. It's a very long, thin island. Let's see, does it give any type of stats as far as the island? The island land is about 12.2 square miles. And that's mostly all just a thin strip of island.
Yeah, it looks like it's mostly sand from the pictures I'm looking at.
Yeah. So that is
could be why I can't support trees.
Probably. Well, some of it looks flooded. Like the one on the website that I sent you, that looks like it's flooded in there.
Yeah, like marshy.
Yeah.
Like the hills behind it look like they're all made just out of sand, like the big sand dune grass.
Sand dunes. Why don't you take this number 23? Because I don't know much about this one, and I couldn't find much about this one.
This is one of the ones I was actually interested in. Because it's creepy.
All right.
Okay, so it's,
you and your fucking creepy people. Creepy stuff.
It's called Palmyra, and it's not actually an island. It's a coral atoll that has like stuff growing on it because it's above the water. This bed of uninhabited paradise is in the North Pacific and is home to a pretty strange occurrences since its discovery several hundred years ago. Visitors often report feeling an eerie sense of impending doom. To make the stories even worse, there was a murdered couple on the island in 1974. Malcolm Graham and Laverne Graham.
AKA Mac and Muff.
Mac and Muff, yeah, I saw that. Oh, it's Eleanor. That Librarian who was her middle name. Malcolm and Eleanor, Mac and Muff. Apparently, an ex-com named Bunk Dwayne Walker killed both of them because they were They both happened to be camping on the island at the time. They ate all, really.
That serial killer, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kill one person a night. Just saying. Bringing it back, people. Town of Salem.
Yep.
So this is just like some like very sparse land that sits on top of a coral reef, essentially?
Yep.
Man, why would you go there?
I don't know. I mean, it looks very pretty in the pictures.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like it looks like a bunch of tiny disconnected islands, really. Yeah. I mean, because it's an atoll, it's basically like a circular horseshoe-ish shape. But the actual parts that are completely above water are all pretty separated. It looks like you could probably walk across the shallower areas, but
yeah.
But yeah, apparently everybody has a very.
It does look nice, but
apparently you get a ending sense of doom by just standing on it.
That's because there's a fucking crazy ass dude named Buck running around killing people.
You're also looking at the pictures like you're completely surrounded on all sides by ocean. Like you can't see anything else, and you're on this breaking up. It looks like it's a breaking up land. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna die here.
Yep. All right, number 22. Now we're gonna get into the Japanese names and stuff. This is Tashirojima Island. All right, this island is also known as Cat Island for all of those listeners who love cats. Cat. Cat. This small Japanese island it's home to about 100 people. Now, to give you an idea of how many cats are on this island, cats outnumber people, from what I read, 8 to 1. So there are about 800 cats versus 100 people on this island. The cats were apparently introduced sometime in the mid-1800s to keep the mouse population down, which was a very common practice back then. But just afterwards, a lot of the residents moved away, and the cat population shot up. Now the remaining residents do see the cats as a good luck charm. And if you go and visit, you can even stay in a cat-like cabin as a tourist destination.
Yep. So if you really like cats, go to that island.
There's a whole cat shrine there.
You can just lay down and be covered in cats, basically.
There are at least 10 cat shrines in Miyagi Prefecture. There are also 51 stone monuments in the shape of cats. Yeah, these people kind of went all in with the feline frenzy here. So again, that is the island of Tashirojima.
Is this where the whole Hello Kitty started?
I'm going to guess. The next one is what got me interested in all of these weird ass islands. It's another Japanese island. Where is it? I'm gonna butcher this. Okunoshima Island. Better known as Rabbit Island. Yes, a lot of these are animal-themed islands, folks. So, Rabbit Island was originally during pre-World War II and during World War II. It was an island where they manufactured poison gas. Now, they still have... you can go there and you can visit. It's a tourist destination in Japan. There is a poison gas museum on this island.
Yay!
Awesome, right? That's something that you want to go see on vacation. But what is more well known for nowadays, I'm assuming, I don't want to step on the toes of all of our poison gas enthusiasts, are feral rabbits. But the thing is they're friendly. There's been a TV documentary on these, and you can see them. They will come right up to you. You can feed them. They are very used to human population. There's just a fucking ton of them. Because you know what breeds faster than cats? Rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah. Sadly, the original rabbits, were there for testing the chemical weapon.
Yeah, which some of those probably didn't make it out. But these are believed to be the descendants of those rabbits. Maybe they're just trying to repay everybody with kindness. The power of love, folks. They're aware that their descendants were viciously murdered in poison gas chambers and such, but they're trying to turn everyone's lives around. All right.
It's a good thing they're friendly, or this lady in the picture would be in big trouble.
Right? Yeah, she is swarmed. She's swarmed by them. How many rabbits do you think that is just around this one person? It's easily
I
2
feel like
dozen.
I was gonna say more like 40.
Yeah. So there's Rabbit Island, folks. I don't really have any. Yeah, I don't really have any other facts for you on that one, but I thought it was cool that there's just at first when I was reading this particular one, I was like, oh, that's neat. There's like an island with just a bunch of feral ass fucking nice like rabbits. And then as I'm reading it, I was like, oh, there's all sorts of animal islands. Which brings us to our next.
There's a little over 50 just in that picture, by the way. I counted them.
Oh, you counted that?
Yeah.
Come on. That's fucked up. So speaking of animal islands, we are going to do our next one. We're going to skip one.
Okay, I was going to say the next one is not the animal island.
No, we're going to skip 20. We're going to go to 19 real quick just cuz it is animal-y.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
Well, yeah, it is. Actually, the next 2 or 3. Oh no, the Deer Island is just the name. So the next 2 are animal.
I again don't know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna say that it's Iha da. I don't even know how would you pronounce this?
Iha de Quemada
Grande.
Quemada Grande.
Sure.
Iha de Quemada Grande.
If you want to know what it is we're trying to stumble over, Google Snake Island. Now, I will preface this. I purposely left this in because I fucking hate snakes, and I was going to take it out and not talk about it, but that would be me doing an injustice to everybody. So, Snake Island, I'm never fucking going there. And you know why? Because the fucking Brazilian government won't let you anyway. So, good on them. The only people they allow on there are scientists to study stuff. Which, why would you want to go there? I have no fucking clue.
Coincidentally, this is where the poisoner from Town of Salem gets their poison.
Probably from that fucking golden lancehead snake. So,
yeah.
The little paragraph that's underneath the picture of the fucking snake curled up on a rock, which is freaking me out, says, let's review. We've had horses, rabbits, cats, now snakes. Located about 90 miles from Sao Paulo, Brazil, this island is infested with venomous snakes. And there aren't just any venomous snakes, they're extremely venomous snakes. In fact, the Brazilian Navy has forbidden anyone from even landing on the island due to the danger. I was doing a little bit of reading on this, which I didn't like. They did say that, where did I see it? There was one snake for every, where was it? You can say whatever it is you were about to say a minute ago while I look for this. Or do you not remember?
No, I was going to say something about the next place, but you go ahead.
I don't remember where I saw this. So, this area, okay, the island itself is roughly, that's pretty big for an island. 4,600,000 square feet. That seems very big for an island. I don't know how big islands are, people. I'm literally just trying to buy time until I find this fucking one number
This island has made history.
I hate your puns. I hate everything about what you just said. You're fired.
You said that with such venom, Webby.
So there is apparently roughly an estimated 1 snake for every 2 square feet of this island.
Oh. So basically every 2 feet in any direction you're going to run into a snake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not good, people. All right. Okay, I was off by about a foot. There's an estimated 1 snake for every square meter.
Okay.
Right, a meter is 3 feet. That's a yard.
The cheeky and her crazy British.
Man, I don't know. There's a fucking lot of snakes. Next island. That's what I'm throwing down. Bam, next island. All right, we're going to go back to 20 for you. You can talk about this.
Okay,
one.
well, that's you didn't want to go on to the next animal island, or you want to go back to the creepy one?
Well, I have the creepy one next.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even pull up the next. Well, we'll quickly breeze through this next island, Christmas Island, because I apparently didn't pull up Christmas Island.
Okay.
On my Google thing, my Wikipedia. So Christmas Island, it's Australia. This Australian territory located in the Indian Ocean is home to one of the largest, most spectacular animal migrations on Earth. Every year, about 120 million crabs make a month-long journey out of the island's forests to the beach in order to mate.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of crabs. Like
that
the picture,
is a lot of crabs.
The road is filled with crabs, and they're all crawling on top of each other too. So it's like ankle-deep crabs everywhere.
Australia, you need to get your shit together. You need to get checked because you got crabs. Okay. Yeah, I'm just pulling up this, and I don't have much other than the. It's all talking about climate and demographics and stuff for the island. It doesn't say nothing about crabs, but that is where you can go and watch, I guess, crab migration if that really interests you. You can follow the crabs for a month and then watch them mate. So, good on you, you creep. All right. So now we will go back up to number 20, and you can talk about Creepy Island.
You can watch the crabs get crabs.
Yes.
Okay. So, another creepy island. This one's called the Isola La Gaiola. Sitting off the coast of Naples, Italy. Nearly every single owner of this island has either been found murdered, drowned, or been economically ruined. Not surprisingly, it's been abandoned for some time and considered cursed by the locals.
Now, hold on. Before you continue, let me ask you this, Edquist. These are everybody who owns this island, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If you bought an island, would you not also be economically cursed afterwards?
Probably.
I know I would be.
But yes, this is a very small island. There's it looks like there's a mansion on one side, and then it has a bridge to another small rocky island. But yeah, apparently it is cursed because everyone's either been murdered or drowned or no longer has money. I mean, I guess we could see how proportionate the just being ruined was to the murdered or drowned, but it sounds bad.
Yeah. Not to mention, if you did live there, dude, your commute to work would suck.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to hope that you had really good internet somehow, and you could work from home.
Well, I'm guessing if you have the money to buy an island, you don't need to work.
I mean, I guess so.
Until you were financially ruined.
Yeah. And then somebody drowns you in your tub.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even bother drowning you in the ocean. They drown you in your tub.
Yep. They've all been found drowned in the tub. No, I'm making that up. I'm sure it's probably found in the ocean, but you never know. I mean, one of them could have drowned. One of them could have been murdered by being drowned in the tub and pumped up both demographics.
Yeah, I like how. Wait, hold on. What did they say? It says every single owner of the island has been found murdered, drowned, or they ended in economic ruin. I like to think that there's only 2 people ever who have ever owned the island. One of them just bankrupted themselves from, buying a fucking island, and then the other one was just murdered by being drowned in his bathtub.
Yep. Every single owner.
That's right. All right, so number 17, we have Deer Island. This is here in the States, folks.
Yep. This one is not as interesting as the other.
It is not. This island is found near Alexandria Bay in New York. From the outside, it looks like any old fucking ragtag island that you would find up in the Northeast. But apparently, this was home to Yale University Skull and Bones Society Lodge.
Yes, not was, is still
home to.
Yes.
So, Deer Island structures that are still standing that you can visit. You have the Foot of the Island building ruins, the Outlook building ruins, the Stone Cottage ruins, and the Yale University Skull and Bones Society Lodge.
Yes, the lodge is still there,
Yeah.
and still used apparently by the Skull and Bones Society, but the rest of the buildings are ruins.
Now, Edquist, what do you know about the Skull and Bones Society?
I only know what I've seen from TV shows that, like comedies or dramas that had it in it. It's apparently a prestigious. It's kind of like a fraternity, but more prestigious. Like a lot of
Politicians
and stuff have been in it, and it's like a lot of they kind of set you up for life if you're a member. Like they help you get through school, to make contacts with important people, kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially you're part of this group and you get to share in everybody else's dirty secrets, so that way people have dirt on you and they can blackmail you for the rest of your life.
They got dirt on you.
Yeah, I'm not paranoid in the slightest. Dude, this next island, I got one crazy ass fact about this next island. So the next island is Howland Island. Now, this U.S. territory in the Pacific Ocean is where Amelia Earhart was supposed to land on her around-the-world journey. It says, since then, the island, along with her fateful journey, has been under much scrutiny. I did a little bit more digging. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This island is the shit.
Okay.
Literally. U.S. possession for guano mining.
Oh.
This is where we get all of our guano, people. I don't know why people have to go mining for bat shit, but they do. And when they do, they go to this island.
Oh, just because you said it's the shit island or whatever. Did you know that there's a giant swirling vortex of garbage in the Pacific Ocean? Like
What?
A deadly swirling vortex of garbage. I did not know this. I recently found it because I was looking at something else, and it was like an article that popped up, and I'm like, what? So I read it. It's like awful. Like there's a huge.
Well, I would not want to be sucked into a vortex of swirling garbage.
Yeah, no, me neither. But apparently, like a lot of it's getting broken down by the sun, but plastics never go away completely, so they keep getting smaller and smaller, and they're starting to like get eaten by fish, and soon they're going to be inside us because we eat the fish.
Oh god!
It's like it was terrifying to read. I was like, oh god. But yeah, it showed how big it is on the freaking globe of the Earth. It's a huge thing of swirling garbage.
All right.
And they showed pictures of it too. I was just like, oh my god.
You'll have to send me a link. All right. Why don't you take number 15? I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Okie dokie. I don't even know what 15 is. I didn't get that far before the show. So let's see. 15. Hashima Island. Oh, I've actually seen this in movies. Today, this former Japanese mining colony resembles a deserted battleship, but at one point in history, it was actually the most densely populated place on the planet. The Japanese crammed it full of forced laborers from China and Korea during World War II. As you can probably guess, visiting the island can be quite a spooky experience. Yeah, it looks like an abandoned, like small abandoned city with like skyscrapers. on an island. I believe they used this as a location in James Bond, maybe? I know I've seen it in a movie not too long ago. I think it may have been James Bond, the newest one.
Which one?
The newest James Bond movie, I think this island was in it, because it looks very familiar.
Oh, yeah, Battleship Island. I believe
Yeah.
this one is.
Mm-hmm.
Hashima. I will say that this was apparently, you probably already said it, but the most densely populated place.
Yep,
for
in the
quite a while.
world, until they left and abandoned it.
Okay.
During World War II.
That being said, we're going to move to number 14. I'm going to let you say this one because I'm going to giggle if I have to say this one.
The floating islands.
I'm a child.
The floating islands of Lake Titicaca.
God damn it, I'm such a child. All right. I'm going to take this time, now that we're talking about Titicacas, I'm going to take this time to give a shout out to my boy Nick, my boy Cliff, my boy Nestor, Lake Titicaca. See, I do this mid-episode now instead of at the beginning because every so often they'll send me a Facebook message. They'll be like, hey, I didn't get my shout out on SU. It's like, yes, you did. You didn't fucking listen to the episode. So yeah, okay, tell us a little bit about these. I just pulled these ones up too. These are from the Uru people.
Yes. They are entirely man-made. These floating islands are woven together out of reeds by the local tribe called the Uros. A long time ago, the tribe likely made these floating islands their home in order to avoid trouble with other local tribes. These days, the Uros still inhabit the floating islands and make their living off of fishing and tourism.
Right. So these islands. Now here's a little extra intel for you, Edquist, that might actually shock you because looking at that island doesn't look big, right?
Nope.
Now wait until you see this. These islands, they form three main groups. The Chipillas, the Morados, and the Euritos. These are the Uru people live on 42 self-fashioned floating islands. There's 42 of these fucking things in this lake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
But I mean, by the looks of it too, I mean, if you think about it, I remember reading, I read an article and then I watched a documentary on a guy who made his own island out of recycled like milk jugs, water jugs, and like 2-liter bottles and stuff. He essentially just grabbed a bunch of these jugs, put them in nets underneath, and then started building platforms on them because they would they would float, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, dude, he was self-sufficient. He grew his own food. Like, he had soil and everything on this island that he built. He grew his own food. He couldn't eat meat. He had to have been a vegetarian. I don't know. I guess fish. He could fish, but man, how do you live your life without bacon? He didn't have wildlife on his island. I know that. You could have chickens. You'd have to go back every X amount of years or whatever and get a couple more chickens, or raise a couple of your chickens. But yeah, they have eggs. So I mean, that's a self-sustaining thing too, I suppose. Right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I never understood. Like, I'm gonna get off topic here. Let me rant. We do a lot of like theory crafting and like imagination building here at Distractions Media. Now, one thing I think about a lot is the zombie apocalypse, which it's been a while since we've talked about the zombie apocalypse. In fact, I think the last episode I recorded was when we were still under the Tavern Talk banner. So I might have to do a simply unprofessional zombie talk. I'll have to go back and recheck. But yeah, you watch all these zombie movies and like zombie shows like The Walking Dead and stuff. Where are all the chickens? Well, isn't that one of the first things you would want to try to go and get? You know?
Maybe everybody ate all the chickens.
Fuck that. You don't eat the chicken, it gives you the egg. You know, man, renewable resources. All right, this next island. I don't know much about this island. This one, I bet John probably knows quite a bit about. Do you?
The Easter Island?
Yeah. I just know that they have giant ass statues on it.
Yep. They used to think that they were just heads, but they excavated below them and found out they were whole gigantic statues.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right. I remember the old mass pictures where they were just heads.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them. They're like chess pieces.
Mm.
What if there's like another island with a bunch of these things that you just have to dig a little lower to find the heads? Or if it's on this same island, and these are like the Norse god chess set.
Could be.
You know? They just played with way more pieces. This place is apparently littered with hundreds of these statues. I only see 15. I don't like it, Edquist.
I mean, there might be just 15 in that area.
I guess. People. So this is where this is essentially where I stopped being able to get Wikipedia updates because you hopped on and we started recording. So we're just gonna kind of go through, and if one sounds super interesting, maybe I'll pull it up, like possibly this next one. This next one's called the Great Blue Hole. Yep, you heard me. That's an island.
I like the picture.
I do. It's like Earth has an anus. You heard me. I'm assuming the light water is the shallow waters.
Mm-hmm.
And then that dark vortex is just a giant circular hole down. It's found off the coast of Belize. This isn't really an island, it's actually the opposite of an island. It's a huge sinkhole in the ocean floor that is surrounded by another atoll. Teeming with aquatic life, the Great Blue Hole is considered one of the world's greatest dive spots. We have a dive spot here in New England, or in New Hampshire too. It's a bar. It's a dive bar, get it? I tried doing it, Edquist. I failed. I hate your puns. Okay, I'm not good at them. Now let's see. The Great Blue Hole is a giant submarine sinkhole.
Mm-hmm. It's a reverse island.
It lies near the center of Lighthouse Reef, which is about 43 miles from the mainland and Belize City. Holy shit. This hole is about 1,043 feet across and about 407 feet deep, so there is a bottom to it. Now, for all you across the ocean listeners, 407 feet, I will save you the trouble. It's 124 meters deep. So, wow. 124 meters deep. I watched a movie called 47 Meters.
Mm-hmm.
47 Meters Down, maybe it was. It was a shark movie. Sucked. Don't see it. Anyway, apparently 47 meters down is too down, too far.
Too far.
It's too far.
Even further.
This goes way further than that.
Do not go into the giant blue Earth anus.
Yeah, don't dive into Earth's anus. Just don't do it. I see you're sending me a bunch of stuff. I don't know if that's stuff I should look at now or later.
It's up to you. It's about the garbage thing I was talking about.
Well, why don't you take number 11, North Sentinel Island? I have no idea what that is, and I will. While you're doing that, I'm gonna watch about this garbage thing.
Okay, North Sentinel Island, as part of the Andaman Islands. This island is administered, in quotation marks, administered by India, but its locals have resisted contact ever since its discovery. In fact, any attempts to get near the island with a helicopter are typically met with spears.
Ooh.
Okay, apparently they go old school on North Sentinel Island.
Nice. I could make a joke right now but it would be probably considered racist, which I wouldn't mean it to. But okay, go ahead.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So apparently they don't like helicopters, giant swirling metal birds of the sky. You don't want them on their island.
We don't want these swirling metal birds. Take it down. Oh my god, dude! Just the pictures of this garbage stuff.
Mm.
Oh, dude, this. Wait, hold on. Based off of what you said. Oh no, that's how it's formed. That's not how big it is. That can't be how big it is.
The first picture is how big it is. Yeah.
Well, the first picture doesn't. I mean, that just shows some trash in the water.
No, the first thing I sent you was a picture, and then I sent you the article.
Oh, let me take a look at this picture. Oh, it is pretty fucking big. Yeah, because like in the article, if you scroll down all the way down near the bottom, it shows you like the convergence zone, and it stretches from California all the way over to Kuroshio.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, this trash fucking vortex. Don't go diving there either. That's more than twice the size of Texas.
Yeah, but I mean, you won't actually see a lot of it. Like the darker area, you would probably see, but like where it gets lighter, like that's all those microplastics that are so small that like plankton and stuff can eat them. But they're there, but you can't really see them. It's all garbage.
Well, to be honest, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said something earlier when you were pitching this to me
Mm-hmm.
about how some of this, the fish is going to eat it, and then because the fish ate it, we're going to end up eating some of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a few things. Now, yes, I know the bloodstream of fish and stuff or whatever, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get in the system somehow. But when you fillet a fish, you generally tend to not keep the stomach, first off. I know when I used to go deep sea fishing with my dad, and he'd start like filleting the fish on the way back, I would always want to cut open the stomachs to see what they ate, because a lot of fish, oddly enough, this might sound very gross to a lot of people, but I would cut open the stomachs to the fish, and you would find intact, full starfish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would keep them, dry them out, and I'd have little starfish things that we could like hang up on stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, so if a fish ate some trash, and I caught the fish, the trash is going to be in their belly, not necessarily in their meat or whatever. I do understand the premise of some of that is going to spread throughout the fish. Organisms, whatever. If you're talking things that small, I don't care.
Well, the issue is that because they're microplastics now, because they can never actually be broken down ever, because that's how plastic is made. Because it's so small, it's eaten by like microscopic life and stuff like that. So when the fish eats that, it goes into their stomach and it's digested the same way that nutrients would be digested. So the plastics actually get into the cells of the fish, as if it was like actual nutrients and stuff. Right. And then it starts to mutate their cells, causing cancer and stuff like that. So if the same plastics get into human, it can cause the same kind of issues. They're still like checking, like they're researching the impact on aquatic life now to see how bad it could get. But a lot of people are very nervous about it. Apparently.
Well, all right. If there's one thing I know about science, and I know a lot about science, folks, because I don't know who out there believes me, I'm a doctor. Mm-hmm. I'm a professor.
That's why we call you Doc.
That's right. So if there's one thing I know about science, if they're currently looking into the impact that this has on the aquatic life, and they're researching this, they're not going to find hard evidence probably in the next fucking 20 years, because they like to take their time with shit. So that means in my lifetime, I'm never going to have to worry about it becomes an issue. Yes.
But eventually for other people, yes, it will be an issue.
Yeah. So, stop eating fish, folks. How about that?
Well, there's that.
And if
You
you're
stop
worried about the
dumping
over, and
plastics
if
in the
you,
ocean.
yeah, stop throwing all the garbage in the ocean. You know, some people took that one quote a little too seriously. The solution to pollution is dilution problem does not mean dump trash. There's a picture of a fucking tire down there.
Yep.
No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like
a lot of that stuff, you can't help getting stuff like that in the ocean though, because you're gonna have ships that get shipwrecked, or back in history you had like some of these tires might have been from fucking boats that went down during some of the world wars, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's a lot of things are actually completely destroyed by the combination of salt water and the sun, except for plastics, which is the issue.
Right.
They just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They never actually get destroyed. They just break apart until they're microscopic. But everything else, I don't know with rubber. Rubber would probably be destroyed as well eventually. But metal is definitely destroyed. Papers and all that. That's all destroyed by the ocean eventually, but except for plastic, which is the issue, the biggest issue.
You know what I'm hearing out of all this is scientists of the world unite.
Make a destructible plastic.
Make a degradable plastic.
Mm-hmm.
One where it will remain a plastic for X amount of time, but with the specific combination of salt water and, light, have it be able to be broken down like everything else. What the fuck, scientists? Jesus. You know what they should do is just dredge this whole area, take as much of the plastic as they can, break it down, recycle it, and turn it into something useful. Like a boat, and then sink the boat. That's probably the wrong thing. Anyway, back to islands, folks. We got a couple more left. Don't worry, we didn't leave you. So we left off on North Sentinel Island, where they throw spears at helicopters, because that's effective. In that picture, it even looks like there's a dude throwing a spear. Like, I like to think that dude's aiming for the helicopter of the people who took this picture. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Get away with your soul-stealing camera.
Oh, this looks creepy. How about you go on this one and I'll do number 9? Because this next one looks kind of creepy too.
I also like that the typo in this makes it seem much weirder than it was.
Wait, there's a typo in what?
the word of why people were sent there, it says plaque. Oh, your teeth are just too terrible. You gotta go to this island.
The dentists of the world unite. Oh, we can't handle this. This is an epidemic, people. This is too much plaque.
These people aren't brushing. Send them to the island.
I didn't notice that till you pulled it up. We told you to floss. Get to the island. Now all I'm imagining is you going in for some sort of exam. They gas you, knock you out. Then you wake up and you're just on this fucking island. Your teeth aren't fixed.
You're just holding an apple.
With a little note that says, "Get better and you can leave."
Okay, well, starting with the Romans, who sent all of their plaque victims to this island near Venice. For most of history, it has been a dumping ground for the sick and diseased.
Wow, plaque is an epidemic.
Yeah, apparently. I'm assuming they mean plague victims, not plaque victims.
I'm sure they are. Watch, they probably don't. They probably do mean plaque. I'm just saying, we're probably wrong here.
Well, they do say that, the mouth can cause the most damage if you don't take care of it. In 1922, a mental hospital was built on the island, and according to some legends, crazy experiments took place. You may have guessed it, but today the island is uninhabited, and none of the locals ever want to visit it. I would want to visit it, but I would not want to stay there overnight. Yeah, the pictures are pretty creepy. I'm assuming they're of the mental hospital.
Yeah, because there's just a bed with a tree growing up into the window, and yeah, there's finger claw marks on the wall. I don't know, it's weird. Fuck this island. What's the name of this island?
Poveglia.
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 Yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere near Venice, folks. Go visit it. Hey, look it. We got another.
Make sure you
animal
brush your
island.
teeth before you go.
Yes, or else you'll be staying. Speaking of teeth, we got another animal island here, Ramree Island, infested with saltwater crocodiles. During World War II, nearly 500 Japanese troops were eaten alive here. In fact, the incident is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the greatest disaster suffered from animals. That is a lot of fucking crocodiles, dude.
To have eaten 500 troops, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. Of the animal islands, of Cat Island, Rabbit Island, Snake Island, Crab Island, I guess, and Gator Island here.
And the Horse Island.
I'm not going to count that one.
Okay.
Which one are you least likely to visit?
Oh. I've still got to go with Snake Island because...
Me too. I would deal with a crocodile before I deal with a snake. And don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not saying I'm going to fight off however many crocodiles. That's a lot of crocodiles in just this one picture. But you know what? I fucking hate snakes. At least a crocodile, I most likely will hear or see coming.
Yeah. I always assume it would be easier to avoid than the snakes, because every 2 feet there's a freaking extremely poisonous snake. Like, because all they have to do is bite you once. Whereas the crocodile, you could at least probably get away if you ran. Yeah. I mean, into another crocodile, but sure.
Yeah. Just stay your ass out of the water on this island. That's all. Get a boat, fly in on a metal bird. That's all. All right. So number 8, we're getting down to the.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! What?
Look at number 6.
Hold on. Oh, geez, it is there. Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna go down to 8. Where let me see where we're at.
Fiji.
Oh, we're under an
the
island.
Islands of Fiji.
So the island of Fiji. It seems like an island paradise, but that wasn't the case for a long stretch of history. As one early explorer wrote, the tribes on the island have a long history of cannibalizing, torturing, and generally disrespecting the children and elderly. Okay, let me ask. Hold on. Wait. Hold up. So on this list of reasons not to visit this island, you have cannibalism, torture, and general disrespect of the children and elderly. Which of these is not like the other?
When you're torturing, you hold the whip like this. Fuck you, Grandpa. This is why people don't come to the island. It's a bad attitude.
It's like, oh, where are you going on vacation? Oh, Grandpa, we're going to Fiji. Oh no, they disrespect the elderly there. Oh yeah, Grandpa, don't worry. We'll teach them a thing or two. Well, you better not speak up too loud. They're also into torture and cannibalism.
So
why not lead with that one? Honestly, disrespecting children and elderly.
Yeah, then go on to cannibalism.
Yeah.
So everybody drinking Fiji water comes from cannibals. So enjoy.
Yeah, that's cannibal piss. Thanks. Cannibal piss and tears of the children and elderly because their fucking feelings were hurt.
Mm-hmm. It's not even the tears of the tortured, it's the tears of the elderly and the children that were disrespected.
So that's Fiji, folks. Now, I cannot attest if the cannibalism or the torture still happen today. I cannot say. I've never been to Fiji. I'm going to guess that there is still some account of disrespecting of children and elderly there, though.
Well, I mean, looking at the internet today, I'm going to say that has spread to other places.
Yes. It is now becoming a world epidemic like plaque.
Yes, it is all Fiji's fault.
God damn you, Fiji. I'm going to title this episode Fun on Fiji. Alright, so the next one, this is a pleasant picture. For the listeners, it looks like school children wearing gas masks. They're all staring straight ahead, and you got fucking gun diagrams and missile diagrams in the background. That's good. These are the Izu Islands. Thanks to volcanic activity, the air on this Japanese island contains the highest concentration of sulfur on Earth. For this reason, the inhabitants are required to carry gas masks with them at all times. For a visit, it can be quite a terrifying spectacle. Well, that explains the gas masks on all the kids. What's with the gun diagrams in the background and the missiles? Just saying.
Well, the one that's to the right is actually people. It's not missiles. The gun one, though, is definitely a gun one.
Are you sure those are you mean the one on the left?
The one on the left, yeah. It's people.
Are you positive?
Mm-hmm. It's groups of people. I don't know what it's for, but...
that might be missiles.
It's a group of people.
Well, you say missile. You say people, I say missiles.
Fine.
Go to Fiji.
But the other one is definitely guns. I don't know what... That doesn't, the gas mask thing, sure, but it doesn't explain why there's charts of guns in a classroom.
True. All right, number 6, Edquist. I'm gonna let you take number 6.
Okay, so the number 6 is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yep. Did not read ahead on this list, apparently.
Nope. Another man-made island. This one was unintentional. Thanks to ocean currents, most of the garbage dumped in the Pacific ends up in one place. That place also happens to be twice the size of the United States. Don't go looking for this island on Google Earth, though, because you won't find it. Most of the debris is small plastic particles that have broken down and are just below the surface.
Okay, so still I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Small plastic particles, small enough for, like, plankton to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can they still not just sift for that stuff and get a lot of it out of there?
I mean, there's so much of it, though, and then what are they going to do with it? They've already dumped it in the ocean to get rid of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, it's plastic, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're sifting for it, you're still going to, after even if it's microscopic or whatever, it's still going to build up and eventually, be enough for you to actually touch. But like, there should be a company that just starts up and says, "Hey, I'm going to go tackle this North Pacific fucking garbage thing," and they can go and sift for all the plastic, melt it down, and recycle it, and actually reuse it.
Yep. Now that you've mentioned that, there is a kid, I think he's like 16, that created floating collection towers that you can just let loose into the ocean, and they'll collect all the garbage.
Are these things that look like the 5-gallon buckets that sit just below the surface of the water?
Might be. I don't remember what they looked like, but yeah, I guess he had funding, but the first prototypes didn't quite work, so they're redoing them. But apparently, there are plans in motion for that. So, fingers crossed.
Oh, dude, this next island looks gnarly. It also looks very fake. I'm just throwing that out there. We're gonna do number 5.
Oh, it does.
Number 5.
That is definitely
a computer thing,
island.
Right?
Yeah, it was like a freaking circuit board.
So Palm Island, and yet again we have a man-made island on our list. This time they can be found just off the coast of Dubai. What else are they going to do with all their money? I go Google Palm Islands, people. All right, this looks really weird. It's very man-made. That is definitely not natural.
Nope. Yeah, they basically made the island look like a palm tree with like weird writing around it. Like it's an island. Yeah.
It looks dumb. People in Dubai. You hear me, people in Dubai? I hope you're listening. This island's dumb. Can I get a reservation? Can I get like a hotel room? Can I come see it and then maybe I'll reassess my opinion on it? I'll give you 5 stars. Anyway. This doesn't look good. I'll let you take this one.
Okie dokie. Fort Boyard. You thought you were done with man-made islands? Wrong. Taking nearly 50 years to build, this French fortification concrete island was no easy project. By the time the French military were done building it in 1857, however, advancements in gun technology made its military and tactical advantage obsolete. Yes, you guessed it. It was then turned into a prison.
Yeah, okay, so it's like, oh, okay. Well, we're gonna
It's
make
like the
this
next one on
island.
the list.
We're gonna make this island and this big fort that you guys aren't gonna be able to shoot through, and then we just advance our bullets, and hey, look, people can shoot through it now.
I know, it's like, we're finally done. That's nice. It went out of
Yeah.
usefulness like 2 years ago. Oh, man.
This 5-year venture is finally over. All right, now it needs an upgrade, folks. So yeah, moving on to 3, like you said, much like number 4, Alcatraz Island. How could we mention island prisons without bringing up Alcatraz? Undoubtedly the most famous island prison in the U.S. It housed the likes of Al Capone, Mickey Cohen before closing its doors in 1963. Also, great movie, The Rock.
Unlike number 4, however, it is not a man-made island. Prison sits atop an island that was already there.
True, and I believe this is Alcatraz is in San Francisco Bay.
Yes.
Okay, I was guessing on that. I wasn't sure.
I don't know if it's in the... yeah, it's probably in the Bay. I was like, I don't know if it's in the Bay, but it's very close to San Francisco. So I would guess it's in the Bay.
I'm going to guess... maybe not. I was going to say, is that line in the picture on the right-hand side, is that the Golden Gate Bridge?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, looking at it now. But yeah, it's not even... It's a tourist thing now. They don't really use the island for anything other than just a tourist destination, I don't think, anymore. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they did them up until like the 1990s, but I don't know if they do anymore.
See, this is going to bring back to... I don't think you were on our last zombie chat when we were talking about a bunch of like survival scenarios and stuff.
That was when we were talking with Austin about it?
I think it was Austin, Donnie, maybe Devin.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I think I was there.
It was back when I think I had Tavern Talk, but
Mm-hmm.
I still think for a zombie apocalypse scenario, Alcatraz Island would be a phenomenal place to go. You could bring dirt with you and make a garden on the roof. It would get plenty of sun, probably some rain. It would be away from the salt water, essentially. With the currents and the tides that it has in there, even if zombies did try to swim and or walk to the island, they'd be swept away.
Mm-hmm.
If you needed supplies, that's why you have boats, so you can take a boat to the mainland, get supplies, go back to Alcatraz Island. And other than people swimming to you, essentially, if somebody was taking a boat towards your place, you would know about it. You have awesome lookouts and stuff. I personally think that would be a great idea. Just saying. We'll talk more about that on our zombie. We're going to do a zombie episode now. I don't care.
Okie dokie.
Number 2, Socotra. Socotra?
Mm-hmm. I think Socotra.
No idea. Belonging to Yemen. Yemen.
Yemen.
Yeah, whatever. This island.
It's island. Friends. We're going to Yemen.
If we're going to Yemen. This island has had.
Yemen. Can I stay with you?
This island has had its history of extreme geographic isolation. As a result, many of its species of animals and plant life are found nowhere else on the planet. What? Hold on.
Those are some gnarly trees it's showing, by the way.
That is some really weird trees. I want to know what kind of like animal life only belongs there. Oh, that's in India, I guess. Yeah. I'm not good with geography, folks. Economy, transport, gallery. They have nothing on the flora, fauna, or animals. Oh, here we go. Over the 2,000 years of human settlement on the island, the environment has slowly but continuously changed. And according to Jonathan Kingdon, the animals and plants that remain represent a degraded fraction of what once existed. The periplus of the Erythraean Sea says the island had crocodiles and large lizards, and the present reptilian fauna appears to be greatly reduced. Until a few centuries ago, there were rivers and wetlands on the island, greater stocks of the endemic trees, and abundant pasture. There were water buffalo, but now there are only sand gullies, and many native plants only survive where there is greater moisture or protection from livestock.
Wow.
The remaining Socotra fauna is greatly threatened by goats. Well,
Bad Bob. Oh, no, Bob's a sheep, not a goat.
Bob's a sheep. But, I mean, there's an easy solution to this. If the plants are being threatened by goats, take away the goats. Okay, before it becomes Goat Island. We're going to be reading about this in a couple of years, and it's going to be Goat Island.
Yep.
All right.
This last one is insane.
So, this is like a Star Wars or Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
So, number 1 on the list.
Oh, wait. Before we do that, back to Star Trek. I forgot about the Amelia Earhart thing because the other island was supposed to be where she landed. But anyone that's watched Star Trek knows that Amelia Earhart was abducted by aliens and now lives in another planet in the Delta Quadrant. So there you go.
Rob, I don't even know what to do with you right now.
Anyway.
You amaze me with your facts on Friends and Star Trek now. Quick, episode 4. What was it about?
Of which Star Trek?
I don't fucking even know where to start.
I don't know. I don't know them as well, but I do know that on Voyager they found Amelia Earhart frozen on another planet. Did
they thaw her ass out?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the captain on Voyager?
Janeway.
What? Who the hell is that?
Captain Janeway. She's the only female captain there's been.
What? What happened to Picard?
Picard was Next Generation.
And
there was Kirk was
Captain Kirk
was regular Star Trek. Then they had Star Trek The Next Generation, which was Captain Picard.
Right.
Then they had Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which was Cisco.
What?
And that one was on a space station.
From The Flash? Cisco Ramon?
No. But that one was a space station above a planet instead of a ship.
That's not very Star Trek-y. Star Trek's supposed to be about the voyage into deep space.
Well, like they were protecting a wormhole that went to a different quadrant of space, so a lot of like weird people kept coming to them. So it was kind of like the reverse. So they were exploring by standing there, kind of, because new people were coming through the wormhole. Anyway, and then Voyager got sucked into another quadrant of space, the Delta Quadrant, and they had to make their way home, which was going to take like 70 years.
Have you seen the newest movie?
I saw 2 of the new movies. I think there might be a new one that I haven't seen.
Yeah, like Into the Darkness or whatever.
I don't
know.
I don't think I've seen it, no.
That one was gnarly. I watched that one. Anyway, back on the number 1 mountain or whatever.
Oh, and then there was Enterprise, which went backwards in time. It was the very first ship.
God. My God.
And
I thought all of them were supposed to be on the Enterprise.
No. Well, that show was just called Enterprise. It wasn't called... That's what it was called. It was Star Trek Enterprise. But that went back, and that had the guy from Quantum Leap as the captain.
But I thought... So, wait. First off, you're telling me that the guy from Quantum Leap leaped onto Star Trek?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
That's
and
the
second,
of that ship.
What you're trying to tell me is, in all of the Star Trek things, they're not always on the Enterprise?
No.
I don't like it.
In Deep Space Nine, they were on Deep Space Nine, the space station, and in Voyager, they were on Starship Voyager.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I know the Enterprise, and I don't like change. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
So...
See, I got you to watch Friends, though. You're going to have to watch Deep Space Nine and Voyager now.
I will start with
They're all on Netflix, so you can watch all of them.
You tell me which one to start with, but it better have the Enterprise. How's that?
You start with Next Generation, and then watch.
Is that on the Enterprise?
Yes, that has Picard. That is the Enterprise.
And he left the Enterprise to go be Charles Xavier.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. I'm glad I'm getting.
And then he met Magneto, and then Magneto left to become Gandalf the Grey, and
man, all right. Finally, the last number one island.
And the reason all this came up.
By God, Vulcan Point.
Yes.
So this is Spock Island, apparently. Also known as Vulcan Island, this small bit of rock is actually an island within a lake, within an island, within a lake, within an island, within the Pacific Ocean.
Yes.
What?
So to go in backwards order, somewhere in the Pacific, there's an island that has a lake.
Hold on.
And that lake has an island, and then that island has a lake, and then Vulcan Point is in that lake.
I'm Googling this.
Well, I mean, you could kind of see it in the picture they put. The tiny little thing is Vulcan Point, then there's the lake around it, then there's one island, then there's another lake just beyond that, and then you can see the land of the rest of the island, and then the oceans beyond that.
That's so weird. Vulcan Point is an island in the middle of a lake, in the middle of a volcano, in the middle of a bigger lake, in the middle of a bigger island, in an archipelago within the Pacific Ocean. Is what this very, very wordy article says.
Yes. I mean, archipelago is just a chain of islands, so...
So it's the Taal or Taal Taal volcano. The region has some strange geological features that attract visitors from around the world. The way the features are arranged is something like nesting dolls. On the Filipino island of Luzon is Lake Taal. Within that lake is a volcano, Taal volcano. At the top of the volcano is 1,000 feet above sea level is a basin known as a caldera, carved out of a mountain hundreds of thousands of years ago. The caldera itself is filled with water, creating a crater lake, the largest crater lake in the world. At the center of the crater lake is a tiny island called Vulcan Point, which is one of the Taal volcano's cones. To recap, that's an island within a lake, within another island, within a lake, on an island, within an archipelago, within the Pacific. So, this has to be a dormant volcano then. Right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of volcanoes are dormant.
Right.
That doesn't mean they can't become active again. But
now,
yeah.
if this became active, it would fucking obliterate Vulcan Point.
Mm-hmm.
And it would no longer have that basin of water, right? It would blow all that straight
It would
out.
become steam. Yeah, it would just be boiled into steam, basically. But I mean, like, there's bigger volcanoes than that. Like, freaking Yellowstone Park is basically one giant volcano. That's why Old Faithful goes off all the time, and they have the sulfur springs and all that. If that thing ever erupted, goodbye most of the U.S.
So I'm going to change the name of this episode from Fun in Fiji to a topic in a podcast within another topic within the same podcast on...
No, within another topic.
Within another topic.
We also did Thomas Salem and Star Trek, so you've got...
on the same podcast within DM.
Yes.
God, this is confusing as hell. I'm sticking with Fun with Fiji.
You should just call it Brush Your Teeth.
call it the Plaque Bearer.
The Plaque Bearer.
Yeah, it'll be another nod to Town of Salem.
Town of Salem, yeah. Oh, God.
There we go. So, I hope everybody, goddamn, how long has this gone? About an hour and a half almost.
I scrolled down and there's some more interesting articles, like 25 extremely easy ways to die that will make you appreciate life, 25 of the most evil serial killers you've ever known.
Whoa. Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't have any of those.
Oh, you don't? It must know what I like to read. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are you profiling me?
Never mind. I do see the 25 extremely easy ways to die that will make you appreciate life one. It's like a dandelion.
Yeah, and the one right below that on mine is 25 of the most evil serial killers you've ever known.
The one right below that for me is some dude with a bunch of flags.
Okay.
25
the most difficult language.
Languages.
Yeah, that's after the serial killers one for me.
Well, I'm just going to quickly click on this one. I'm curious. So we might do another article on some of these. God damn it. This very first one I have a story on that I get laughed at all the time.
What is this, the extremely easy ways to die?
Yeah, so I'm going to just...
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to spitball a couple of these 25 extremely easy ways to die that will make you appreciate life. Number 25, slipping in the shower. I have a story that goes with that.
Oh, my God. I've done the second one. That was terrible.
Oh, mixing of bleach and ammonia while cleaning. That makes chlorine gas.
Yes, it does. And I almost died doing it once.
I had a dream one time, and this is going to make me sound fucking psychotic. So to all the listeners, I do apologize, but this is a dream. I can't help my dreams. For all I know, it just meant that I was having fucking a bad moment with family issues. I don't know. I had a dream that I purposely mixed ammonia and bleach to make chlorine gas, and then I filled them with balloons, and I dressed up as the clown from It.
Oh, God.
And I went around to children's birthday parties handing out the balloons.
Oh, my.
That's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm a bad person. Yeah, some of these are dumb, though. Like driving. Yeah, you can die driving. Whatever. Skip to page 3 real quick. I'll give you 2 off of page 3. You could die taking selfies. Shaking snack machines. All right, we're going to do an SU on one of these.
Not responding to a chainmail.
I don't think you'll die from that. I'm going to go back to page 1. And I will copy and paste this to my SU topic ideas. And we will do another SU on these. 1 through 5 is like... Hold on.
Like, they're all things... No, it's all things that's like, yeah, well, duh.
Oh, yeah. Who the fuck dives in the shallow end?
I don't know.
I
like number 1, it's like, how do you prevent that in any way?
Yeah. I'm not... Yeah, we won't ruin it. We're gonna go through this list. God damn it. We'll get people on this. I like this site. I like this site. We're gonna go through a lot of these. I really kind of want to do 25 of the most evil serial killers. I have a thing with serial killers.
Do you want me to send you the link because it's not in yours?
Sure. And I will also post that or paste that in my topics things. So, but with that being said, we have gone for about the hour and 25-ish mark by now. So
we're adding to our topics within the topic within.
Yeah, no shit. So we will wrap up this week's episode. Edquist first. I gotta thank you for hopping on here and doing this SU with me yet again.
No problem.
What did you think of tonight's topic? The Oddball Islands.
At first, because you said it to me, you're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the weirdest islands in the world." I just wrote, "Okay," like really long. But then I started reading it. I was like, yeah, I've heard of some of these.
Let me guess. When I sent you that, and you read it, was one of your first thoughts, Webby, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel on this one, pal.
I was just like, how did he come by this topic? It's just really random. I was like, did he just put a word generator together in Strange Island?
No, okay. So I had been teasing this for the listeners who do listen to this podcast. Fucking. Oh, also shout out to I got a couple new listeners in Chile or Chile.
Ooh.
And some UK listeners. Shout out to my UK listeners now. I love looking. I don't care about the numbers. Like, I'm not a big fan. Like, I don't care who listens. Honestly, my thing is if you listen and you enjoy it, awesome. I'm glad I could do something that could entertain you, if nothing else, and hopefully that you continue to listen. But my biggest thing, I like going onto the Podbean website or whatever, and then if you click on geography, it'll show you the world map and how many downloads you get in various countries. So, still none from Russia, folks. What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? Do I have to bust out some cold shit? What's up?
I mean, we could yell at them if they were actually listening, but they're not, so they won't hear us.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll fucking... As soon as I get a listener that's a little closer, I'm going to tell that listener, I'll give you specifically the shout out to yell at somebody to the next country over until we chain our way over to Russia. Okay? In fact, I'm going to start with that now. UK, it's going to be a little hard. If you know anybody in Europe, get them to listen to an episode. Any episode. Okay? So, UK, you have a mission. Get anyone in Europe to listen. That way I can connect them to slowly move eastwards towards Russia.
Yes. Or, if you're simply going on vacation in another
Russia.
European country, download the episode there so that it looks like we're trying.
Yeah, I am gullible. That will work. That will work. I'll be like, look, dude, I got this one listen in Russia, finally. It's the only one ever. Kurt, download it when you're in the Philippines, man.
Yeah, there you go.
I got a couple Philippine listeners. Anyway, no, this topic that we did tonight, I had been talking about the past couple episodes or a few episodes back. I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this. I either wanted to do or gather a bunch of them and do one big episode like we did. Luckily, I found that list of 25 because when I was doing this, I only had Rabbit Island and Snake Island on the list. So luckily I found that other one. So I was either going to do one big episode or I was going to do one mini discussion about one island per episode. And I was going to do kind of a continuation at the end of the episode. Here's the random ass island that we found, and here's a little information on it, and then we'd end the episode. But I ended up just doing one big fucking episode on islands. So yeah. You fucking completely spaced me now. Well, sign-offs.
Yes, sign-offs.
Where can people find you on the interwebs, Rob?
You can find me at Confessor_X on Twitter and at ConfessorX on Twitch.
You can find me at Confused. You can find me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker. I should probably make a Simply Unprofessional Twitter.
Probably, yeah.
And then I can just ignore that one. I try to keep up with the Jax Forest Walker one, but I'm not good at it. Anyway, also facebook.com/simplyunprofessional. Email me suggestions, topic ideas, hate mail. I take everything. Just email me. I'm lonely. That you can email me at simplyunprofessional@gmail.com. Edquist, don't email.
Don't forget. I won't.
Okay.
I won't at all.
I heard you clicking, and I was like, Edquist is sending me an email. What the fuck?
No, I was wiping off my keyboard.
Oh.
And remember, if you want to send us dick pics, they go straight to Austin.
Yes, and what is Austin's... What is the email address for Austin?
The email address, I think it's
do you
just
have that?
Distractions Media or Dungeons and Distractions. I don't know. So just send them to his Twitter, CZF300.
CZF300.
Just so they pop up right there in front of him.
Yeah. He loves it when you send him dick pics that are like dressed up or painted like horses. So
Yeah.
send
Sexy
those.
horses too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just flood Austin's Twitter account with horse pics.
Buy him a ticket to Horse Island, everybody. Let's send him there.
Oh my God,
Nova Scotia. Let's go.
He would
It's not that far.
He would be in horse heaven. All right. Well, as always, everybody, thank you for listening for another week. And until next time, fuck Booster Gold.
Fuck Booster Gold.